What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Nerdthusiast Poker Podcast. I'm your host, Ida Hoagie. I'm here with one of our co-hosts, Frank's in the building tonight. That is
What's up,
Frank
guys?
DeRay, aka In the Money Poker. He's here. What's up, man? How you been?
Good, buddy. Good to see you, as always.
And we got a special guest for an interview today on the show, fresh out of Vegas. We're going to talk a little bit about his latest Vegas trip and where he's been playing and what's been going on. Antonio Payne, first time on the show. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing good, guys. How you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Excellent.
No problem, man. No problem. So, me and Frank were talking, about guests and inviting people, and he had mentioned you. I knew you were an East Coast guy. I think we probably crossed tables before, but I never met you personally, so I knew the name, and I was like, all right, yeah, this sounds like a good Borgata OG in the house here. So let's dig into it, man. So, let's start with what's been going on this summer, and we'll kind of jump from there. I heard you had a really big summer, man.
Yeah, it was good. First, I don't play as much as I used to play. I used to like for about 5 years. I got after it pretty good. I traveled the country, a lot of the circuit stuff, and I would go to Vegas and go down for like a week, 8 days, whatever. Maybe a couple weeks in the longest stint. And then after that, I kind of backed off a lot. We moved to Charlotte, my wife and I, and so now I'm basically like maybe 3 weekend trips, and like I go hard in Vegas because that's where it's at. Like I
Yeah.
I like the stage. It's the lifestyle's tough, but I like the stage. So I go down to Vegas for like 2 or 3 weeks, including the main, and I get after it. So it's I kind of feel like when I go out there, I'm kind of fresh. I've adapted to the game. It's totally different now. It's not how it used to be. But it's that's what I like. I like the stage. I like to get out there and get after it.
What did you play this summer? Like that was your like kind of big highlights that you played in.
Well, I went out there. I went for like 4 or 5 days, and then my first big one was the Mystery Millions. I I made day two, but I was like 913 out of 950. So
Oh,
I
wow.
only had like five bigs, but I knew that the play was kind of bad because everybody's chasing bounties.
Yeah.
So I knew if I was okay bagging like a small amount, because I knew I was going to have the opportunity to like get back in it with people calling you very light, and that's exactly what happened. So I ended up making. I turned like five bigs into 33 million chips, and I bagged. Made day three. 18 came back, finished in 13th. Ended up with four bounties. Pulled the gold chest twice for like 25K twice.
That's
Couldn't
awesome.
get them. There was two 1 millions in there. I couldn't get those, but it was. I can't complain because of the position that I was in, and I was. I guess I was fortunate to get to that point. I thought I could, and I was very confident about it, but it worked out, and then I just got stopped at the door. But I can't complain because a lot of guys got less than that, so I was thankful for it.
Well, so Hoagie was a 100K bounty puller over at Borgata last year.
Yeah,
So
I heard.
I know that feeling of pulling that big bounty, man.
That's
It's
Yeah,
cool.
a
that's
very
nice.
special feeling.
Congrats to that.
Did you read any strategy going into mystery bounties, or did you just kind of go in like
No.
blind and just said let's do it?
Yeah, well, I played in it last year, and I got and actually I had one entry in that. I was set up for a few, but I only used one, and the play is like really bad. And it was once I saw that last year, I knew I just tighten it up early and just let the game come to me instead of like gambling. Because like
Jason, yeah.
even at the end of the night, there was a lot of guys like shoving, snap calling with ace four. Another guy had queen nine because they wanted to bag like 1.5 million chips. And I kind of described it like if you want to win the lottery, you got to have a ticket, and the ticket is those bags in a chip, the
Yeah.
chips in the bag. So that's how I looked at it. So the play is kind of bad. The play didn't kind of calm down till we got down to like maybe 27, 36 players, and then the big bounties were kind of dwindling down. So at that point, then poker settled in at that point. So,
Yeah.
but the play is really bad in a tournament like that because it's just bounty chasing. It's that's all it is. It's not like regular
That's the
poker.
way they are online too. For this, especially the smaller ones, people don't care. They
Yeah,
value
yeah,
the bounty so much more,
yes,
and the
yeah,
thrill of I can pick the highest bounty, and
yeah.
it's definitely an adjustment, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's what happened with my first all in. It was like I said, I came in with five bigs, and there was a guy that had like 840K. Another guy had 800. They collided, and the guy was left with 40K. So I had like ace 10. So I got to make that's a no brainer all in. The 40K calls me, and then there's obviously two more guys calling light because there's bounty involved. I'm short.
yeah,
The guy with 40K has nothing. So now it's a four-way all in with my ace 10, and then my hand was ahead and it stayed ahead, which is very, very lucky for me. And
yeah.
now and then now then I get the bounty and then I get the gold chest for 25, my first 25K. So I go
Nice.
from like one of the shortest stacks in a room, and I went from like I think it was like 205K to 665. So then I knew I had chips, I had time to just settle in and just let all the craziness happen around me, and that's what I did.
So a couple things you brought up, and I've done a little bit of studying because I actually final table and won a chopped little small mystery bounty back in 2 years ago in Florida, a little guy, and then the Brigada one I ran deep in. I won, pulled a big ticket there and finished like 20th or 21st or whatever it was. But I kind of dug into it a little bit more, and I haven't had a chance to really play much Mystery Bound just because of my time schedule and everything. But you're right. There's a lot of dynamics that are different, and one of them, like you said, is a short stack because it becomes so much more valuable, and everyone's going to be calling you so light. So that's like one thing that people have to really understand about adjusting. You're not going to get a lot of fold equity, so you have to kind of adjust your ranges in those spots.
Exactly.
Um,
Good point.
another
Yep.
another thing it's a weird dynamic too is the value of the people. So like you said, there's 800 people left or whatever is left. I mean, the crazy thing to think about, and if there's two $1 million bounties still out there and people are calling you wide, they're going to call you with any two cards that they have you covered because the odds, think about it. Where else, when you get to that point, where else have you ever had the chance to have like 400 to 1 odds to become a millionaire? Right? Like
Yeah.
it's a weird, it's a
True.
weird, it's a weird thought process to
Yeah.
think.
Man. Yeah.
We think of playing the lottery and it's like, okay, I got 20 million to 1 odds to hit the lottery. It's you're never going to have. But now you're in a situation where there's 600 people left or 700 people left and you have two chances at a million. So it's like I have 300 to 1 odds. So you're thinking about that, but you're also thinking about trying to win this tournament. So it's like two weird things are happening of gambling versus actually playing good.
And you have to figure out who's looking at what too. Like some people are just blinded to the poker game at that point. Maybe not totally blinded, but very blurred vision of winning the tournament. They're more focused on that huge bounty. And I think separating, and you guys have played more. I've played a fair amount more online with these mystery bounties, but I've never really played a live one. And you guys obviously both have. And it's like I'm sitting there trying to figure out who's trying to do what. Like, and
Yeah.
I'm sure Antonio, from your aspect, that's something you got to figure out. Okay, seat one's looking at this, seat two's looking at that. This guy's got that many chips, and it's put it all in the blender and make a decision.
Yeah, I actually like to be honest with you, like I never played it like a bounty tournament. I mean, if I would have had a lot of chips, then I would have had to risk a percentage of my stack at certain points, and the other guy would have been me, like the shortest
Right,
stack, and then I would have been pretty much just gambling at that point. But was never in that position, and even when I got up to like 33 million chips, I still wasn't being like ultra aggressive trying. I was thinking more about winning the tournament. And that's
right,
how I stayed within myself and a regular tournament compared to the bounty. Because I heard there was guys that had like eight bounties, all 1Ks. Guys had eight entries. I was fortunate to just have one, like I said earlier. And it was so I think I was able to separate the bounties, and I think it enabled me to go as far as I did as well.
sure.
Another weird dynamic, and that I kind of had to shut off, which was really strange to me, was when I won my bounty. I think there was like I don't know 150 or 200 players left still in the tournament. So now I had just won $100,000,
Yeah,
but now I got to go back and play a tournament, right? Like it's like I just kind of won basically almost like a first place victory,
sure.
but now I have to shut that off in my mind and like
Right.
can't celebrate. I made like
Refocus.
yeah,
Yeah,
I made like 3 phone calls and I was like, "Oh, I just holy crap." And I'm like freaking out. I'm like, "Wait, I got to go back and play." And so like that's another weird dynamic about mystery bounties is like so I don't was that how did that feel when you won the 50,000? Like what were you thinking at
Well,
that
it was
point?
it was actually 25 twice. I
That's what I
told
mean.
the
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. it never fazed me. I think
Just shut it off, right?
like somebody had video me at the stage, and I know Poker News had it also, which I got a copy of it, and it was like I was like when I like you're guaranteed a 25K when you go up there. So the let's go moment is when the gold chest comes up and you know you're going to the stage for a shot at like retirement money, you know.
Yeah.
But so like once you get to the stage, you know you're guaranteed 25K. So when you pull the 25K out, it's almost like you know.
You're like,
So
you're like,
instead of being
20,
yeah,
only
so and
25,000, no big
then
deal.
my friends was teasing me like you just got 25,000. You're not happy? I said I'm happy, but there was a lot
But
more. Like the odds of me
work's
Yeah.
getting
not
to the
done. You're
yeah, the
not done
odds of
your
me
job.
yeah,
You're there focused to win, and you've played
yeah,
enough big
yeah, yeah.
tournaments to know that, and so
Yeah, I was like the fourth guy to go to the stage. So
Mm.
basically the odds was 17-1 to get to the stage. Once I got to the stage, there was like I think 54 envelopes or 50 left, and six of them was over 100K. So
Oh,
now
wow.
the odds shifted in my favor for a
Yeah.
six-figure hit. So I was lucky to get there, but then I didn't finish it off. But again, like I got up there twice. I think maybe one other person went up there twice, and last year it only happened to one person. So I mean, I really can't complain. I
Yeah,
can't.
for sure.
I can't.
that's
You know.
awesome.
So
What so I know we've been talking about this, so I've dug into your Hendon a little bit. What would you say was like your most exciting win or cash or like, in the poker world of tournament play? Like what's the one victory, or even it might not be a victory, like maybe like third or fourth place. Like what was the one thing that really has like stuck out in your mind over time that's really been
I think whenever you win a tournament, regardless of how much it is, it's more satisfying because you finished it. And I'll give you an example. When I won my ring at Chester, I think it was 2014. Um, it was a small field, but it was tough. Um, and Joe McKeon came in third in that one. So it was a loaded table. But the point was, it was satisfying because I won. It was only 14,000. 3 days later, I'm at the final table in the main event trying to do something that really doesn't happen in circuit events, like trying to win back to back rings,
Mm,
one attached to
yeah.
the main event. That's hard to do. That one, I came in sixth and I got like 22,000. So I got more money. But to be honest, like I really didn't play good in that one because I mean, it was a really tough table. Like Kyle Balker was there, Justin Liberto. It was loaded, and it was I tried to do some things early that didn't work, and I just played like it wasn't good. It wasn't good. So it was so I got more money, but it wasn't satisfying. But as far as other like accomplishments, in 2015, I got I finished 111 in the main event, and it was a higher finish than this year, my 138, but it was first hand after dinner break. So in that one, I was on one of the feature tables for television, so I got some of my hands on, not a lot. Obviously, this year, like I made day six for the first time, and that was exciting. And I didn't get not one hand on TV, but I think because I've been on television before and I understand how it works. I mean, yeah, everybody kind of likes that. It'd be nice, but I think because I've been playing for a while, I was kind of okay with it. Plus, like somebody's seeing what you're doing for like 3 or 4 hours, and with all the stuff that everybody's studying these days, it was like I was kind of okay, just like staying under the radar. And I
Yeah.
kind of felt like I
Sure.
could have like I was good with that.
And back in 2015, Hoagie, just so you know, was back when I was doing my poker investment group, which
Yes, yes,
Antonio was a big part of, and how we became
yes.
friends. So he had a real nice finish there, and again this year. And
Yep.
my biggest question is, and I know you know this, these massive fields, to go that deep a couple times, and we know plenty of people that have done it. I'm not asking you to reveal your golden plan, but what kind of advice would you have for these huge, huge fields with, big starting stacks and long levels like the main to go finish in the top 200 twice? And I know you finished a third time in the money, correct? In the main?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
111, 138. and then the other one was like in the fours. You know,
Yeah,
so
but still, that's 3 times,
yeah,
and all the fields are probably 6, 7, 8,000 plus.
yeah, or more than that.
That's
Yeah,
still a lot of, dodging the minefields, you know? So
yeah.
what do you think is a key in your mind, in your game
Well,
for that?
everybody knows Pierre. He's like a poker legend
Of
back on the
course,
East
yeah,
Coast.
we both know
And
Pierre well.
we always joke about like just put a chip in the bag. And basically it's kind of funny to say that, but that's kind of what it is. And you have to bag chips. And the biggest thing, that the mistake that a lot of guys make in the main event is they overplay the big hands. They overplay ace king. Like I saw a guy on day 5, he folded bottom set. That same guy, I'm watching the poker go, we came in 10th place. He would have been out. Like you
Right.
have to make big
Tough
laydowns.
tough
Like you
laydowns, yeah.
got you got to lay down big hands instead of jumping in hands in early
Okay.
position with ace jack, or like you got to like, you like somebody 3 bets and you're sitting there with, a big hand, but you're not, unless you flop a set or something. I mean,
You're
you're going to get
yeah,
in trouble. You're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So basically, without like, I'm not going to do too much, but I just like, I'm very calculated when I play. It's like I know it, like the 20 minutes of orbit, like it's 5 to 6 orbits per
okay,
level.
yeah,
Like I understand. I always know where I am, as far as like if I win a big hand, how much time I just bought myself. Like, it just works to know that you don't have to like jump out there and get crazy and just, somebody took your big blinds twice. Like I'm not really like, I know how to deal with people. Like, and just to give Lee Childs, obviously another poker legend, 2007
sure.
final table. Like when I started playing back in 2011, he was like very instrumental in the beginning because he had his inside the minds training, and I was very lucky because he had like Matt Glantz, the late Gavin Smith, the White Pilgrim, Jason Young, who's a good friend of mine now. Like all of those guys was like, it was like an all-star team training us how to play. So that's how I kind of got off the ground, because I thought I knew how to play until you get
Mm.
these guys like showing you really how to
Yeah, for
play.
sure.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't talk to Lee that much, but when I'm doing something, like when I'm making a nice run, I'll send him a message and thank him for everything. Now the game has changed; it has changed,
For
and
sure.
I have adapted well to the changes. But I still needed that foundation back in the day. I needed that.
What?
Yeah,
When did you start? Like, how did you get into poker originally? Like, how did you get
Uh,
into it?
like most people, it just started out like playing in the like your home games. And then I was playing like in the bar leagues. I played with World Tavern Poker, and I went there and just like was like really like, I don't want to say I dominated because there's a lot of good players there, but I did really really well. Might have played there for like a year, and then my son was telling me that why don't you try and play like on another level, and then I went, and I remember my first tournament. I went to Bagada and I played like in a $2,700 buy-in, which was a little crazy because like I'm jumping into the fire, right? I didn't
Yeah.
know Bagada was like the hotbed for all stars.
Yeah.
But I went there. I got late in the first day, but I was green. I was really like I feel like I got called up for the minor leagues, and it was my cup of coffee, and I got sent down quick. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I did almost get to the end of the day, and I just remember like Matt Stow and Maria Hole, just the names, and like just to come to find out years later that these are like big stars in the game even today.
sure.
Yep.
But I was out of my league. But
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why like the whole training thing came in, and I just um I just had to like learn how to play. Um, but I always have like a confidence about me, where like, and I've gone back and I spoke in front of large crowds about poker with the World Tavern Poker group, and it was like I never like wanted to talk about me because I kind of feel that like anybody can do like what I'm doing, because I am the common guy. I am not a professional player. I am a working man. I don't work as much as I used to, but I feel like, if you put your mind to it and you learn how to play, and you have the confidence to walk into arena and not be intimidated. And I've given out like a lot of advice to like my friends and people that want to try and do this, and like, and it's really about like just not being caught up in the moment. I have never
Yeah.
thought about money when I played. I don't know what would have happened if I would have got to the final table. I don't know. Maybe that would have changed. I don't know. But to this point, and I've played for a lot of money, and I've been on television. I stay in the moment,
Yeah.
and once you get outside that box, it's like that's when I think you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. Because even like when I busted day six, it's disappointing because you're so close, and I've been there before. Then I go home, I fly home on the red eye that night. I get back and I'm watching poker go, and it was like then it comes on and they got the do you see Las Vegas and lights and the music, and I was like, shit, I was just in that. 'Cause you never realize that you're in it because you're in it.
Yeah.
Right.
When you're watching the
Yeah.
Super Bowl, it's more nerve wracking. If you're playing in it, I'm pretty sure those guys are under control too.
Well, in the end, it's a game, right? And
It's a game.
and you and I've talked about this. It might be a different level of competition, different level of skills, but it's like, and you and I talked about this a little bit with with softball. It's like in the end, whether it's the first game in a casual league or it's for a World Series ring, you have to in your head be focused in the moment. I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying I
You
can always do it, but you have to be
you
like,
have to want
this
it.
is a
You
game. I've done this a million times. Do your best, and in poker case, make your best decisions and think about it. Don't be thinking about, oh, the lights are on me, there's people in the crowd. No, that has to be
you
blocked
also
out. And
have to
again,
you have to want that. Like you have to like
absolutely.
you mentioned softball.
You
Like
gotta want the ball.
I want to come up in a key
I
spot.
want to
In
be right. I
poker,
want the ball
when
hit to me. I want to bat.
when
Agreed.
I see Jonathan DeHarmo walking by and he has a tray full of chips and he's walking by looking for his table, I'm hoping he sits at my table. I want to play against him. And I've been
Hmm.
Right.
fortunate over the years to play against like almost all the best players, like
Yeah.
top guys. And it was
Sure.
like, I want that. Like, I want to play against Phil Ivey. Am I better than him? No, I'm not. Definitely not. But if I have chips and he doesn't, then
You
I'm
have an
Phil Ivey
edge.
now. He's
Yeah.
no longer Phil Ivey,
It changes the game
So,
for
but
sure.
I'm not intimidated by any
You can't be.
players. I'm
Yeah.
not. It's like I'm able to like because when you sit down at a table, it's like it's a table, cards, it's a dealer, and it's chips and it's
Right.
players, and that's
Yep.
it. And I think the biggest thing with players is like the first line in rounders is if you
Yeah.
can't spot the sucker in the first 30 minutes, you are the
Then
sucker.
it's you.
And
Yeah.
that is so true. You have to figure it out quick because just with your table dynamics, as you guys know, like they change quick. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
sometimes like I can be the aggressor, and then sometimes if I have a crazy table, I gotta pull back because these guys are
Yeah.
nuts. So I'm gonna pull back, and eventually they'll probably give me some chips, and I'm okay with that. But if and then there's times like when I play in the senior events, and I know I'm 60 now, so it's kind of crazy. But I played in a super senior for the first time, and I can't believe I didn't win that tournament, let alone not make day two, because it was just like a absolute huge edge game for me, huge. And
Yeah.
I wasn't crazy, but it was
It,
just very easy to get to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. Because the better
sure.
players will tell you like they can get chips with no cards.
Yeah.
Like once you bring the cards into play, you're inviting the luck factor.
Yep.
So it's but it's yeah, that's pretty much it with that.
I
Well,
got a couple. I got a couple random questions. So first, so you won. You get $70,000 cash in the main event. You get over $100,000 in between the mystery bounties and the cash there. You come home. What's the first thing you buy? What was your like luxury bullshit? The buy that you're
Well,
like, you
it's
know.
funny you say that because well, I didn't buy like I think because I'm older, I'm kind of like my wife and I we're very grounded. I'm not looking for a massive poker bankroll. I know what I'm trying to do. It's more about like we don't really have a lot of bills, thank goodness. Like paying off like maybe a small one of our newer cars, or just maybe a nice watch.
Mhm.
But nothing. I was in Cabo a couple years ago, and I had my drone with me, and the battery was running low, and I hit home and it took off, so I lost it. So I bought another drone. A
Okay.
couple little small
Yeah.
things, but nothing crazy.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
The funny thing was
Nice.
like I had made a deal with my wife. She told me after the Mystery Million, she says the next 100K you can get like I want the BMW i8. That's
Hmm.
my uh that's my retirement car. So I'm playing it, and one of my buddies had said, "Well, you better tell her to order a car even before day one." So now I'm kind of moving along, and I'm like, I got 70K locked up, three more people's 85, 13 more is 100. So I'm like, shit, I'm 13 people from this car, right? So then, but when I had my knockout hand, had 12 bigs, it's a no brainer. I'm not thinking about playing for a car. That was kind of like a funny joke, but I could
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
landed right on the number of 100K,
Yeah.
and I would have got that
Yeah.
car. I would have got it, you know.
That's awesome.
So,
Well,
but
it's funny you talk about the adjusting to the dynamics with people, and I call it the Mike Tyson theory. I say if people see Mike Tyson, or in the poker equivalent, see a Phil Ivey at your table,
yes,
most people think one of two things. They're either like, "Oh my God, it's Phil Ivey," or "Oh, it's Phil Ivey." You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like a Mike Tyson, it's like, "Oh my God, I'm afraid of him," or "He doesn't look that tough." And I
Yeah.
think it boils down to no fear. You have to
Well,
respect them. You have to
he's Phil
respect them,
Ivey.
but you
Yeah.
can't fear them. And that's where I
Yeah.
think the crossing the line of being aware of the situation. Don't be in awe, but don't be stupid either. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
But he is
And I
Phil
think
Ivey.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, of course.
Like
And
when
and
I
I'm just saying, I think
no no I know, I
a
know.
good majority of people fall in one of those two categories, as opposed to being probably somewhere in between, which is where they need to be, in my
Well,
opinion. You know.
the first time I played with Ivy, it was like late in the day one. It was a WSOP event. He comes to the table, he sits down. So it's definitely like in your head, you're like, whoa, but you're not
Yeah.
showing whoa because it's like
You
Michael
can't.
Jordan, it's
Right.
Tom Brady, it's Phil Ivey, and
Yeah.
I played against Phil Hellmuth multiple times, not the same feeling. And
Yeah.
nothing against Hellmuth. He has all his bracelets and stuff, and he's great. But I
The
didn't
aura
have
is
that.
different.
I
Yeah.
didn't have that feeling with him. But Ivy, inside, it was like, whoa, that's Phil Ivey. But I'm not showing
Yeah.
that. Hellmuth is like he is the brat with no cameras. Like that's really, it's not a
Um.
show. It's
Yeah.
really who he is. Like I got in a hand with him, and it was I tried to bet him off a hand in the river, and then he called me, and I was like kind of repping the ace, and he had pocket queens, and then I said, Nice hand, Phil," and then he said, "Thanks." I said, "That's why I have four bracelets and you have 14." So, and he said, "You got four bracelets?" I said, "No, but I just bluffed you though." So he laughed at that, but it was
That's
but
a
it
good
was
line.
like, it's like, but he's kind of like, I don't have that feeling against him, so
Mhm.
I never played with Daniel Negreanu, and he seems like a fun kind of quirky guy. Great pro though, another great pro. But Ivy's the one. Like if you had to
Yeah.
pick like the one guy that's like the the poker guy, it's him. It's definitely him because
I've
he
played
had that
craps
thing
with
about
Phil
him.
Ivey. I've played craps with Phil Ivey in Aruba. That's it. That's all I got. I saw him at the
Yeah,
craps table. So
yeah. And actually,
not
when he got
not
it,
competitive.
when he bagged chips, he got it from the table. He didn't even put his chips in the bag.
Yeah.
So
That's
the
his
pool
style.
guy came
He
over
don't
and he
bag his
says,
chips.
"Whose chips are these?" And then the dealer said they're Ivy's, and he just said, "Okay." And then they just
Yeah.
they just bag them up for him.
Yeah.
So I guess he kind of earned the fact that he could
They
do that.
couldn't have
Yeah.
said it was Payne's, and they go, "Well, tell Payne to get
No,
back."
he's out of the tournament. Throw him out of the tournament.
Another random question here. So we are our brand is Nerdthusiast. We do other things like video games, poker, comics, music, all kinds of stuff. Obviously, I and Frank and another guy, Brian, kind of run the poker world here in our brand. So my question to you is, what is your nerdy thing? What's your nerdy thing that you're into in life? Like, what's the nerd? If I, that stands out to you.
I don't know if you call golf being nerdy, but it's like
Golf.
yeah. Then I guess I'm a nerd because I've been playing for a very long time, and I feel like I'm not getting anywhere, but I'm still respectable, But it's just a
It's a
tough game.
passion, though, right? It's a passion. You
Yeah,
put
it's a
time into it.
passion.
A lot. Yeah.
It's a passion, but I'm actually in the process of doing some 6 month training right now, trying to like hone my skills. But it's kind of tough when you have a lot of bad muscle memory and trying to start over at my age, but I'm trying. You know.
Yeah.
Well, you, as a fellow, and Antonio played a lot of softball like me as well. So the softball swing is not the golf swing.
Yeah.
So
No, and
I do, and
softball
I try to
hurts.
play golf, and I don't try very often, but when I do, I have a softball swing and not a golf swing, which
Well, so
is not going to help me.
Frank and I play in competitive softball leagues. I got recruited to play in some of the traveling tournaments, but like I only play one way and that's hard. Like I don't know how to jog the first base or hit a ball in the gap and just stay at first. Like I'm the guy at 60 that's still going in head first. Nobody does
Same
that.
you,
I don't know. I don't
except
know about
me,
you or you.
except
Okay,
me.
then me and Frank are the only two people in the country that we are going into second base head first. And guess who gets hurt? I get hurt. The guy that's 275-pound power hitter that's hit home runs, he's not doing that. So he
Nah.
plays the whole season where I don't. So I haven't gone away to play in these tournaments yet because I have to learn how to scale back if I want to play 5 games in a day. I could play multiple rounds of golf in a day, which I have and I do, and it's like I don't come home like dying.
Beat up.
Yeah.
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 Softball hurts. Softball
What?
hurts.
So you're also down now in North Carolina. You were,
Yeah.
up here. What? So is there any poker near you? Are you near the Cherokee?
So yeah,
Or
so I'm actually in Huntersville, which is like 5 minutes north of Charlotte, and the closest place to play casino wise is Cherokee, and that's
okay.
like a 3 hour drive.
Have you
And
played
I
there?
when I came back from Vegas, I actually went down. I played the main event in that, and I think in that I finished like maybe 204 out of 1400. So I was like about a level away from bagging chips. So it was it was a pretty decent run, but it's 3 hours away. So I try to get up there like maybe 2 times with the circuit stops, and then like I said, I'll go somewhere else outside of that, and then that's it. That's all I really
Yeah.
want because football season's coming. I'm a big Giants fan. I travel a lot with the team. It's like
Okay.
I'm going to Cleveland and Pittsburgh this year, so I just love football. So when football comes, I kind of switch gears, pivot to that, and I just enjoy that so much.
Nice.
Okay.
I'll squeeze something in, but football kind of takes
Yeah. Yeah.
priority at that point.
I hear you. I hear it. So, I got one more question for you. This comes from my other co-host Brian, who couldn't be here tonight, but he asked our guest this. So, he wants to know. He always asks, "What is your vice? Like, what's your leak? What's your vice? It doesn't have to be gambling. It could be like anything. What's your vice
My advice,
outside of
or
poker?
Your
Like, what's
vice?
your leak? Like, cars, money, and clothes, or watch. Like, what's your leak? You're like, man, this is my vice in life. Like, outside of poker, my leak.
I think it's just like well, my wife and I, she's like my partner. We like to travel. We
Okay.
just we travel a lot together. We do a lot of stuff together. And golf is a big part of that. Golf to me is like very therapeutic. Like I've there's been points in my life where like things might not be where you want them to be, and you can go out there and play golf, and for 4 hours you could just shut the whole world down. And it
Yeah.
was so. But I would say it's with my wife and traveling, and just
Nice.
we just started going overseas and doing that type of traveling. So I would say traveling. You
Have you
know,
played any poker overseas yet?
I have not, but I have something on the burner though for the spring. You know,
Okay.
it's yeah. So, but I have not. I've always wanted to. But it's not something that I want to do without taking my wife with me. But in order for me to do that, I almost need like another family member to come just to
Yeah.
give her like something to do as well. You
Yep. Yep.
know, but it's
Where are
but
you planning on? Where are you planning on going or playing in the spring?
I'm going to Ireland.
Oh,
For the
nice.
Yeah, it was I know a good friend of mine, this guy Marty. He goes there. He's been there the last couple of years, and it was he was talking to me about going. So it's like so everything's lined up to go in the spring. So it's
Nice.
not a lot of Americans there. So I figure if I can't win in the States, I'll just go to Ireland to win.
I hear
I'll
you.
be representing USA then.
There you
Nice.
go.
Yeah,
And
they
I
have they have a good scene over there. I've been to Ireland, but I haven't actually played in Ireland. And but they have a good poker tour. They have a good poker scene over there.
Yeah,
Real
they
good
do
one.
a good job. I heard they're very, very, it's a very pro setup. And
Yeah.
also, like, I know you're asking questions too, but like, I gotta give a shout out to like Blue Shark Optics. I'm one of the team pros,
Okay.
and they like Kerry runs the whole thing. Him and his wife Monica. They haven't been at the WSOP for a couple of years because I think the new setup is kind of maybe crazy with the pricing and stuff, but they're still doing really, really well. So it's
Excellent.
bluesharkoptics.com. They'll hook you up, they give you a nice deal. It kind of drives me nuts when I see these guys playing poker in like dark shades, you know. So it's but those glasses are made for poker. Like everything is
Yeah.
like vibrant, you know. It's like it definitely works. And they'll even take like I just sent some Oakleys in and some really nice Oakleys, and I had them put their lenses inside my Oakley frame. So they'll take custom frames and do
I
that as
might be
well.
reaching out to him. I need a new pair of
Yeah.
sunglasses.
Well,
Actually, broke
tell
it.
them I sent you. They'll take care of you.
Of course,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
absolutely.
Maybe we'll
yeah,
reach out. We'll do an unboxing for them or something. We could do it on
That's
the
it.
podcast.
We'll do an unboxing. That's a good
Yeah, we'll do
idea.
yeah. I mean, yeah, he's solid. Kerry's a good dude. They're like,
it.
and he when he built his team, he was like really smart. Like what he did was he built like a team of like like he had Moneymaker, Greg Raymer, he had those guys, but then he had a lot of guys like me, like the common guys, which I call myself, like the working guys
Yeah.
that could step onto the stage and play and perform. So he has a lot of those guys, which is more guys like us than it is pro players. You know, we
Mhm.
Right.
are. It's more of us. You know, so
Yeah.
that's what
Sure.
he geared. That's what he geared his team for, which is kind of brilliant on his part. You know.
Yeah.
So that's
That's
kind of
smart.
cool.
Smart. Well, that's all I have for this episode. But man, I want to thank you for coming on, and hopefully we cross paths maybe next series in Vegas where we can meet up and shoot the shoot the shit or whatnot.
No, definitely will. 100%.
Do you have a shout out? You want anyone to follow you on Instagram, Twitter? Do you have a anything like that we could shout out for you?
Uh, Let me see. I'm really not on Twitter too much now, but let me see what it is. I'll tell you real quick. I don't even know what my name is. Like it's just at Anthony underscore one Payne.
Okay. Yeah, we could
Yeah.
tag you down below in our
Yeah,
thing
I
there.
appreciate that. Yeah, but it's I'm more like even like with Facebook, a lot of my Facebook is like poker and my old high school crew, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm not on Twitter too like I used to be, but I know it's still pretty big, but just haven't been on it too much.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for coming on, and
Yeah, no problem. It was fun,
Thanks,
guys.
Antonio. Always good to see you, buddy.
Okay,
everyone
same
at
man,
home,
guys. Nice job. Thank you.
please
We'll
make
talk
sure you
later.
guys follow, comment, and subscribe on Nerdthusiast Poker, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace out, everybody.
All right.